Yo, what's good, guys? I feel bad for anybody who's like this guy. You can't appreciate a balanced National Basketball Association with real parity just because the first game of the series wasn't the most interesting. Do you really think the rest of the series is going to be just like that? If you're a casual, just say that. You want to see Kevin Durant go back to the Warriors and just win a million championships in a row? That's your idea of basketball entertainment. It's not going to happen, and good riddance, because fuck that. I will take this every day, a Denver Nuggets team that plays basketball the right way, with a collection of exciting players, and Joker at the helm, who plays beautiful basketball, and the Cinderella story, who doesn't love a good underdog, Miami Heat 8 seed, who shocked the world. So without further ado, let's break down the top 10 players in this NBA Finals series, starting with number 10. I gave it to Gabe Big Nuts Vincent. How about a guy who has never seen a shot he didn't like? Especially down the stretch. You know, a lot of role players, they just want to give the ball to their star, get out the way when it's crunch time, when it's closing time. Gabe Vincent doesn't give a fuck who you are. He's shooting the shot if he has it, and he's not always going to make it, but he's just not afraid, and I think that is an admirable quality about a player, and we can see it go wrong in a lot of cases. Guys just get way too overconfident. They think they're someone they're not. But Gabe Vincent, this guy is capable on catch or off dribble perimeter score with a streaky stroke. Of course, he can get 20, he can get 6, but you always have to guard him. And he's also a very good defender for his size. Let's move on to number 9. I went with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, just a seamless fit on this Nuggets team as your 3-and-D shooting guard with some off-dribble game. We know what he is. He's championship experienced and a veteran guy that just knows his role. Going on to number 8, Bruce Brown, Swiss Army knife, backup point guard, who deserved a lot more buzz. Let's be honest, for 6th man of the year this season. I get it, he plays in Denver. He didn't average the most points out of reserves, but the guy just does everything on the basketball court. Jack of all trades, master of none, perhaps, but he's a great energy guy, and he usually impacts winning. Caleb Martin at number 7, also a Swiss Army knife guy. And before you criticize this placement, yeah, he did have a 9 points per game season, but the Heat were also an 8 seed team. You kind of got to throw out a lot of that regular season stuff, and one of the big reasons they are still here is this man who could always play. I mean, he was a DMP in Game 7 last year. One of my few critiques of Erik Spoelstra, the best coach in basketball, was that he barely played this guy in that Celtics series. We clearly saw how he could impact playing against that team and add energy, athleticism, defense into the game. The scoring punch has been the breakthrough the Heat needed at the perfect time. On top of becoming the second scorer on this team in the conference finals, he took the assignments of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown many a time in that Eastern Conference Finals. Big time offensive and defensive rebounder too for his size, and he's been at his best in the biggest games. 4 3-pointers in each Game 6 and Game 7. Speaking of 3-pointers, Michael Porter Jr. is in my number 6. This is a guy that's always open because he's a sniper with a sky-high release point that doesn't see a contest. On top of that, highly improved defensive player and an absolutely seamless fit with Joker and this team as a whole. At number 5, we got Aaron Gordon, who's early on becoming one of the more pivotal players in this series. This guy is a great cutter, roller to the basket, glass crasher. He's comfortable handling the ball in sets. He can hit the open jumper. Best defensive player on this team by a good margin, on a defense that has vastly improved since the regular season, in large part to him taking these big assignments and just making guys work. I mean, he did a masterful job on Kevin Durant in that second round, but just throughout the playoffs and guarding different types of players too, like Karl Anthony Towns. Now he's on Jimmy. His value to the team cannot be understated. And at number 4, we have Bam Adebayo, the most versatile defensive player in the NBA, arguably the best, because he can guard anybody, but Joker might be the biggest challenge that there is for him, because he can guard Giannis, he can guard Joel Embiid, and he can guard point guards. He's not a mismatch against virtually anybody. On the offensive side of things, we did see his shortcomings against a quicker Boston defense that was comfortable switching smaller guys onto him and often didn't even take advantage of that. But he does flourish against the bigger, slower guys where he can use his speed a little more. So we saw that a lot in Game 1, like being able to create in the high post off the screen and catch in the free throw line. And we've been seeing it all playoffs long, the excellent passing ability especially from the top of the key, just hitting back cutters, a lot of dribble handoff actions. Jamal Murray at number 3. The inconsistencies of the regular season that had me really not believing in this team that much have totally vanished, because the whole idea with this team is that Jamal Murray had to be an absolutely devastating scoring force throughout the playoffs, a la the bubble run, for them to have a chance to win a chip. And that's exactly what we're seeing, because early in the year, I shit you not, Aaron Gordon was bringing more to the table overall when the season started. Now, of course, Jamal coming off the injury, he had to get right, and I don't think he really showed everybody the full extent of his ability during the regular season, because we weren't sure which version of him we were going to get. But it's safe to say that this is who he is, because now we've seen him do it twice. Difficult shot aficionado, always within shooting range, bottomless offensive toolbox, pick and roll maestro, the two-man game with Joker. It is as devastating as a two-man game that exists in the NBA, point blank, period. At number 2, Jimmy Butler. There aren't a lot of guys who've had a better last 4 seasons in the playoffs than Jimmy, with 2 East titles and 3 appearances in the conference finals as the best player on a team, and single-handedly eliminated the favorite. I could have sworn the Milwaukee Bucks were about to run through this NBA playoffs. Giannis is going to get number 2. They had all the reason to do it, and instead, they got 37 points per game dropped on their 3 all-defensive first-team caliber players and went out sad in 5 games. That's one of the most unbelievable individual playoff performances in a series I have ever seen. It might be the best one, just in a single series. First round series for sure. The Joker is the number 1 guy, obviously. Not a lot of suspense going to the top of this list. The 2-time MVP. Looks like the best player in the world right now, especially on the offensive end. It's been the case that him and Steph have been like the 2 best offensive players in basketball. It might just be him in a league of his own, especially if they wrap up this title. Best passer in the league. He makes everybody better. Everybody's responsibility on the court is so easy. I mean, this guy feels like he gets guys free buckets all game. So, no-brainer at number 1 here. Let me know what your problem with my list is. It's probably going to be like, Caleb Martin's too high because he had 1 bad game. Listen, Caleb Martin has been excellent for the majority of the playoffs, and him having just 1 bad game is not going to have me slide him all the way down to like 9 or 10. So, sorry about that. This is my list. Make your own list in the comments. Let me know. Peace.